one soul at a time. My name is Meagan Michael. I am a seer, a seeker, a visionary, and a medium. Every Sunday, I present to you spiritual thought leaders from around our world and beyond. And today, it is my honor and my pleasure to bring back an amazing guest, one of my favorite of all time. I just think he's just incredible, and I know you do too. This is author, channeler, spiritual medium, William Michael Forbes. Will you please join me in once again welcoming William Michael Forbes?
Hey, hi Megan. It's a delight to be here. I'm looking so forward to today because we're looking at what's coming in 2021, and we're going to piggyback this with a little bit of a healing event towards the end of this today. So I'm really delighted and honored that you invited me back again. You've got a great audience, and you always bring good content to the program, and I'm excited about it. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so honored. And I want to invite everyone to definitely follow you. Well, yes, I was going to say follow. Anyway, follow William Michael Forbes on his beautiful YouTube channel. The link is in the comments. The link to mine is also in the comments. Be sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to both of our channels. I guess what I want to do is, are you sharing it out right now?
I am doing that, yes.
Okay, well, so when you're done, then I'll do that. And I'm super excited about this experience. So check this out, guys. This is what we're doing. So William has agreed to channel and bring through information about 2021. A lot of it he probably already knows. I don't know. We haven't discussed this privately. We're here to do this all here with you today. So 2021, and I'm going to ask different questions about what's coming up with social media and tech and money and all kinds of stuff. And if you have any questions, I want you to be sure to put them in the comments. You can also just say hi or what's going on. And then, of course, at the end, William is bringing through an incredible healing. And I'm so excited to be part of this. And so, yes. Are you ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready to rock and roll. It's just such an amazing time for all of us to be on this planet right now. There's so much opportunity for transformation and change and evolution. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. I'm excited to hear what kind of questions are going to come through and what kind of answers will come through.
Oh, I love it. I'm so excited about this. All right, so let me well, I'll just ask you the first question, and then while you're answering, and then I will go share it out and find it out. So you saw it. You must have, obviously. I didn't even check. I was so excited about the broadcast. I literally didn't check the tech to make sure we're there, but there we are. Okay, excellent. That's a good start. So you can start wherever you want. Like if you want to talk about, 2020 and then moving into 2021, and then I'll ask specific questions or whatever, however you're drawn.
Yeah. Well, I would like to kind of pretext everything with the understanding that we are literally, as a collective species and as individuals, it's important to understand there's the collective and there's the individual, and both sides are equally important at this point in our transformation. It's really important to understand the distinction between the collective and the individual, because there are a lot of beings on this planet that will not evolve up, and there are a lot of beings on this planet that will evolve up, and that could be partially the collective and partially individuals. Again, they've been telling me today, getting ready for this, that there's no way to predict precisely the overall unfoldment of events that are happening on the planet today. But that predictability can be understood if you understand the context and the vibrational awareness of the frequency of love or fear. From those vibrations, you get an idea if you're going to be experiencing more positive or more negative in this paradigm. Whether or not you're going to rise up in consciousness or you're going to go down in consciousness will be based on those frequencies of fear and love. And that will be kind of like the foundation on which we'll communicate from today, because this is essentially where we are as a species and as individuals as well.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. And I am sharing it out at the same time, so I know for a fact I'm going to go back and rewatch the broadcast that I'm hosting right now, because I don't want to miss anything. So, but thank you for that. And I want to ask, can we start off with the monoliths? I just saw that right before I got online. Are you familiar? Like, have you seen that? Are they even real?
I've been seeing those monoliths. I've also seen an example of the monolith as being a promotion for Volkswagen too. That Volkswagen's new electric car was being promoted with the monoliths. Again, in terms of William, I'm not, and my guides and angels, they're not interested what they call little phenomena. They're more interested in the evolution of the collective and the individual at this time, that each and every one of us has a choice to evolve or default. To get caught up in externals is not going to assist you to evolve. Getting connected to source, getting connected to your angelic team, your guides, your angels, the frequencies of energy that elevate you up are far more important than the tantalizing teasers of this physical world, which can distract you from your path.
Wow. Thank you for that. Okay. Awesome. Well, then that's perfect, because now we will go right into, okay, so you said that some people are going to evolve and some people are not. What's that going to look like on the like, new Earth, old Earth, or what's going to happen? Like some of us evolve, like let's just say we're high vibe and we really are, and then, but are we going to forget about other people, and what's going to happen? I'm going to give it to you, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you. Yes, they want me to clarify this distinction between evolving and not evolving. These are just terms for those that are willing to move their consciousness up to a perceptual level where they can interact with us and other divine levels of consciousness, and those who will not learn to, at this point in their evolution, to enable themselves to interact with us deliberately and intentionally. There are many of you that are awakening to us, feeling our presence, recognizing us around you, working with you, and you are now with us. And there are those that are still in their, what you call the three-dimensional realm of the senses, where their senses are still governing their choices, their thoughts, and their actions, rather than the higher faculties of reason and intuition and perception and imagination and creation, which are the higher faculties of each and every one of you. Whether you will evolve or not, we all have the same faculties, but they must be developed to liberate yourself from this perspective of the senses versus the perspective of the multidimensional self. Okay,
I missed part of that because I was sharing, and I'm a little bit lost. Can you just recap that for me real fast? Because I'm done sharing, and so I want to.
The distinction is in whether or not you will become a multi-sensory awareness, whether you recognize that your senses are not exclusively governing what you are. They are strictly instruments for you to register and understand and comprehend this physical world. Your multi-sensory nature of reason, intuition, perception, imagination, creation, which are non-physical faculties that you can deliberately enable to express from those faculties into this world higher conceptions of being, higher conceptions of information, and higher conceptions of action that elevate as many as possible who are willing to climb with you.
Okay, I guess what I'm wondering, and forgive me if you answered it and I just didn't, and it went over my head, but I guess what I totally relate to what you're saying. I just want you to know that, because my whole life experience now is so dramatically shifted, like unbelievable. I'm more telepathic than ever. My own guides are telling me that telepathy is, I mean, as you know very well, that most beings do communicate telepathically, and that and I feel very strongly that we're limited here on Earth with, like, I say words and you hear words and you perceive what I say, because that's just such a limiting way to connect. And I feel like that's something that's coming up. But I guess going back to that last question, I guess I just want to understand, like if I have a friend or a relative or something like that, and they're really grounded in the old energy, and they're not, I don't really have any friends like that, but I'm just saying, if I did, somebody, and they're really grounded in the old energy, and are we going to still see each other in the new energy? Is that going to be something, I don't know. Is it like, I guess, you know what? I have my, in my mind, the rapture from the Bible, okay, where people just get, and that's, I think a lot of people are going to be wondering about that too, so. Yeah.
That's a great consideration to bring up. And again, I've asked the very same question myself, that distinction. And what they tell me is that when somebody leaves their body without a reference point for themselves as being more than a body, they become, in relative terms, unconscious that they are still aware. Their sense of identity, most of our sense of identity is based in this body and mind system.
Right.
So when you lose that, if you're not conscious that that's not who you are, then you become unconscious. You're not existing. You're just not conscious that you exist. So let's take your cousins and the people that around us that aren't evolving that way. The minute you think to them, you give them a level of awareness. If they leave their body unconsciously and you think towards them, you can give them a reawakening in consciousness. That happens a lot when I do readings with people, where they'll ask me to bring in a family member that's left the form, and I'll think out to them, I'll reach out to them, and they suddenly realize they still exist beyond what they remember themselves being as that limited, finite identity. Does that make sense?
100%. And I've never heard it before, so it's incredible. It's extra incredible. Wow. Wow. So wait a minute. So just to recap here for a moment to make sure I understand. What I see or hear you saying is that there are beings out there, are energies, disincarnate, is that the right word? And like humans that are not in their bodies anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're out there and they don't know that they exist until you like, or somebody focuses energy on, thinks about them,
Yes.
and then become aware that they are aware and infinite beings.
Yes, that's why a lot of that. That's why a lot of the phenomena happens where somebody's passed away recently, and then you start thinking about them, and you can feel their presence around you. It's because you've given attention to that identity that they remember being, and it triggers awareness in them again. But when it's like we're so caught up in thinking that these thoughts, these emotions, this body is who I am, that when it's gone. By the way, they wanted me to tell you that. When you leave the body, you are not human anymore. You are soul. You are spirit. You're human while you're in a body. You're soul when you're not in your body. They want me to clarify that for you.
Okay.
But that once the soul has left the body, they are still existent. They still are energy. They still are consciousness. They're just not aware of self the way they were in the body. So the minute you think about them, it triggers awareness, and you can bring them back into awareness of self.
Can bring them back into awareness of self. That's really powerful. So can anybody do this? Like, let's say, you know, Grandma Tilly transitions and she was not a woke woman when she was alive. And so when she was human. So now, like, you know, the relative can
absolutely.
to toward Grandma Tilly. And what would be some positive things for them to say or to communicate?
That's a great consideration. And virtually anybody that is aware and conscious they're aware can connect to beings that have left the form. It's then a matter of developing a level of sensitivity to their energy, to their non-physical presence, which you can't hear with ears and see with eyes, a non-physical being. But you can with your clairvoyance and clairaudience and clairsentience and claircognizance. If you open up those non-physical faculties, then you can think. Like right now, I'm thinking about my dad, and I get this intense craving for a beer, right? That's what my dad always does. Whenever he comes around, I can feel like a craving for a beer. And so you become aware of the non-physical sense where you sense and perceive the energy of the being as opposed to the physical self. That makes sense?
Absolutely. Okay, I have a question. Sorry? Say that again.
That's a matter of training. Where you're so ingrained, people are so ingrained in thinking the 5 physical senses are their only way of apprehending a reality, that they can't perceive the reality beyond it. So they think, oh, that's nonsense, that's poppycock. Only because your senses have not developed. I had a man book a reading with me a couple weeks ago, and he said he was a complete atheist, and then his father passed away, and then like a day or two later, suddenly he felt his father with him so vividly and so intensely that he started questioning his beliefs, and now he knows that his father still exists outside the form.
Wow.
Once your senses, the non-physical senses begin to open, you start to liberate yourself from being identified as this mind-body. And when that happens, you have the opportunity to liberate yourself from being just exclusively as body. So when the body ceases to function, you can know you still exist.
Wow. Okay, so I have a question. It's a little bit off topic, but it's kind of on topic with this right here. Okay, so today, this morning I woke up and a childhood friend of mine sent me a beautiful picture of my mom when she was like 40, and I have never seen this photo before. And it's really a great picture of her. And I'm looking at it, and I feel really drawn to it. And so I'm looking at it many, many times today. Well, while I'm putting on my makeup today, I see myself doing my eyebrows differently. And I suddenly realize that my hands, I'm wearing a gold bracelet. I don't have a gold bracelet. I'm wearing a gold bracelet and I'm like, wait a minute. How could I be my mother when she was like 40 all of a sudden? But I was absolutely and connected to that energy. How does that happen? She's alive. She's 91.
That's really cool. Again, we are not simply body mind. I've talked to people's higher self that are still in their body. You can communicate. A lot of people have Alzheimer's or debilitating mental diseases of the body, and the soul can still connect to you, and you can still connect to it. A lot of people don't realize this. They go in the hospital and think, oh, they're gone. I can't see them. I can't hear them anymore. No, but if you learn to open up those faculties, you can begin to see. You can have a literal communication with them beyond the form. And again, it requires a willingness to develop those senses. And a lot of people, there's no training for this in conventional education. The idea that there's these non-physical realms, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, but all the masters speak about it all the time. They're always telling me these are most important. The non-physical faculties are most important to develop while you're in the physical body, so that when the body ceases to function, you know you still exist and you can continue to consciously evolve.
Oh, I love what you're saying. And you teach this, don't you?
We do. We teach a mediumship program that's got a 9-week program specifically designed to open you up to the awareness of what you are as a non-physical awareness, able to interact with non-physical awareness. Talking to your guides, your angels, the ascended masters, multidimensional beings. Yeah, we do. We absolutely teach that.
Awesome. Absolutely fantastic. And I want me to also pop your, I know, I feel like that's okay. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I was going to judge myself for a moment for feeling like I'm not 100% organized right now, but you know what? I am totally exactly where I'm supposed to be at every given moment. So let me ask you this, though. I'm actually putting your website. That's what I wanted to do, is in the comments in case anybody wants to go check out your services, but wait until the show is over. All right?
No worries.
So, okay, so the energies as of late. All right, so this is my own personal experience, and I heard a few other people sharing very similar. Okay, so recently I've been feeling like I'm in, and Spirit actually called it stasis. They gave it a name. I said, I feel like I'm kind of in, and they said stasis, and I'm like, okay. Stasis. I looked it up. I know you know what it means, but I looked it up just to double check, and it means just what I felt that it meant. You know, I always do that with my guys. I'm like, oh, I don't usually use that word. Let me look it up. Oh, there it is. So I'm in stasis, and I've heard at least 3 of my good friends who are also, intuitives say the same thing. Also, it kind of feels like, so I guess it feels like I'm not there and I'm not here yet. I'm just here. And I don't feel pressured to do even the old patterns where I try to pressure myself. I don't even really get that now. I'm like, oh, just everything's okay, and it feels kind of weird but nice. And I thought maybe you could. Does that resonates with you at all? If you could speak. Oh
yeah. Those people and yourself are the caterpillar becoming the butterfly.
Love that.
You're the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. That stasis is that place where there appears to be nothing happening, and you look at any chrysalis and you'll see appears like there's nothing happening, but there's lots going on within you. There's lots going on within those dear ones. They are awakening to something more than the physical form will afford them to understand. And as you find yourself moving through that stasis, which is really an evolution that's occurring below the surface of your conscious awareness, and you will emerge on the other side knowing you know more than you knew before. Being more than you were before, doing more than you were before. You are the caterpillar becoming the butterfly.
And that's it. I know you're 1,000% right. I feel it and I know it. And every day I wake up and I'm different. And I keep reminding myself just to let go of the stories and not to try to remember them. I don't want to worry that I'll forget who I was, because who I was doesn't matter. Who I am today matters, and to allow myself to just keep evolving. I think this is the most fascinating time. And just on Monday, I said to my client, I have a beautiful coaching client, and I literally said the same thing to her, the analogy with the caterpillar or the butterfly. I said, you're in the mushy stage right now.
Yeah. A lot of people are feeling that numbness too, which is a very similar thing. You're feeling this numb feeling. Is really you're in a stasis. You're in a transformational process that is not, your ego mind can't wrap its consciousness around something about being more than it is. Only you can.
Yes.
And it becomes experiential as opposed to trying to think what's going on. So if you're feeling numb, if you're feeling trapped, you're feeling stuck, You're not. You're in a process of transformation. And if you're willing to open your mind up to searching and seeking to perceive more than what you see with your eyes and hear more than what you hear with your ears, you can liberate yourself. You can help that process of evolution, self-evolution, occur more organically, intentionally.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was also sharing again, you know. But okay, so say that one more time.
Allow the process. Yeah, you can allow the process to unfold more organically and more consciously by attempting to expand your awareness beyond what you know. Your clairvoyance, your non-physical sensorial apparatus. If you develop these things, you will be able to accelerate your evolution deliberately and more intentionally from a non-physical perspective than simply the organic process of body, mind, self.
Yes, yes. Oh, that so resonates. Brilliant. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Guys, if you have any questions about 2021, please drop them in the comments. I want to welcome everybody on YouTube, and Nicole J and Natalia Bauer, hello, and Past Voice 13. Great meetup today. Thank you. You're very welcome. Michelle, CJ, Kim Siegel, thank you. In case you didn't notice, you just noticed, Kim, you have a wrench next to your name on YouTube. It's because you're a moderator now. Thank you for that. Probably what? And welcome everybody on Facebook as well. So I don't see all the names right now, just so you know.
Yeah, it's wonderful. We are at such a really exciting, dynamic time, as well as, you know, we got this polarity of fear and love, this dance of fear and love going on collectively as a species. And it's so important that we, I'm equally, little William self gets caught up in some of that sometimes too. And I watch that dance, and for me, I realize that it really is about letting go of all the fear and really holding a vibrational awareness that organizes things very differently than what fear can. And so many of us have to learn to do that. So many of us that know that certain things that are going on don't seem right or don't feel right. We still have to align ourselves to a vibrational frequency of love in order to facilitate the transcendence through that. Otherwise, we end up creating things we don't want with fear.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I do. You know, that's interesting, because I noticed that manifestations are happening so quickly these days. I mean, so quickly in certain instances. I've literally seen something within like seconds, you know? I mean, and I'm like, wow, that's a little scary, because, you know, and I am doing my best. I shouldn't say doing, because I'm being my best in every given moment. That's interesting. I said doing. I'm like, that's not the right word. Yeah, I'm being my best in every given moment, and then yet, but you know, the mind is still, there's a lot of programming that I mostly let go of. Yeah. But sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to manifest that, and then you have to quickly let go of that. Because if you think about how you don't want to manifest it, then you know. Yeah.
A lot of people, again, so it's a real climb for all of us. I mean, it's in front of every single, there's not one soul on this planet that is excluded from the process. We are all literally in the process of transformation together. And this whole thing about the virusness is literally just a reflection of a higher process that's going on, where we are uniting at a higher frequency of self-expression. I'm excited. It's going to be really interesting to see how people continue to become more conscious or less conscious. Will they be more aware or less aware? In the physical realm, I don't know if you ever studied A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles has a wonderful statement that says, delay is meaningless in eternity, but tragic in time.
Say that one more time, please. Delay is meaningless.
Delay is meaningless in eternity, but tragic in time. In other words, as a soul, while you're in that physical body, you can become more conscious deliberately and intentionally than you can by choice. You have that option to be free, you know. But if you delay, you miss the opportunity to be awake in your physical body. You know, you can talk telepathically to people, and we do it all the time. We're just most people aren't conscious of that. But it's going to be fun. I'm excited. What's going to happen the next coming year is going to be the most amazing year I think we've seen in centuries.
Oh, I'm so excited. So tell me, well, do you have something specific where you want to talk about why, or should I go
it's funny you're asking that, because I was asking them before we came live. I was saying, you know, what are specific things I can talk about that are going to change in this? And they said, everything is in a state of transformation. For you as an individual, for any individual to try and predict or presuppose you know precisely what's going to unfold is to ignore the whole of things as they're unfolding. What they said to me, though, they said, what we can say to you is that ultimately the highest self emerges from this. The highest self emerges from this, whether that is on the scale of the individual or on the collective. The highest self emerges from this. And I tried to, because I want to know more. I would like to know what's going to happen in politics next year. What's going to happen with travel? What's going to happen with these? And they said, that's not the point. The point isn't about what's going to happen in the world. The point is what's going to happen within you. What are you doing inside to cultivate yourself? Or what you do inside yourself is affecting the world. And that's where your focus needs to be, William. Your focus needs to be on, are you in a vibrational state of unity? Are you in a vibrational state of love? Are you in a vibrational state of joy and excitement? Are you putting that into the creation? Because that is what matters. The individual expression does set up the material expressions. What you're seeing in the world is an effect of the collective unfolding. And it will change as the collective changes and as the individuals change. They're not separate, you know. They're not separate.
Wow. And is it true that there were, because I've heard Cryon talk about this specifically, Cryon, how there were no predictions, like even Nostradamus or whatever, they didn't predict this time in our Earth's history, because like with the Mayans and the calendar ended, they, I guess, expected us to blow ourselves up with a third world war, and we didn't. That's what I've been.
The Mayan calendar actually doesn't end until December 21st of this month. When the calendar, the Julian calendar, was created by Julius Caesar.
Okay.
And when they switched over from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, there was a removal of 8 years. So that 8 years, when it added back on, works out to be, this is actually 2012 according to the Julian calendar. And so that puts another spin on things too. When I asked them about that, they said a lot of things have changed because you can't predict things by altering the dates and time. So a lot of people's awareness of what was happening, again, was taken over by different agencies and political machinations that existed to alter and control people's perception of time, space, and matter for the purpose of maintaining control and power. And that paradigm is coming to an end now. That's why you're seeing all this massive stuff going on. There's this last push to try and maintain control, but there's also the birth of the soul, the birth of the divine, which is unstoppable. You can't stop the birth of a divine child. You can't stop the birth of a divine humanity. You can't stop it, no matter what you try. Ask any mother who's given birth to a child. You can't stop it once it starts.
I understand. I haven't given birth to a human child, but well, I haven't given birth. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. My dog is sitting right next to me. She's like, "Mom, you didn't birth me, you know." I'm like, "Yes, I did." Talking about making it seriously. Oh my gosh, this is like this is so okay. So this recently, the only things I'm drawn to watch is something that's created this year. Honestly, I have like no, and well, let's just go with this. All right, so like I am not drawn. Okay, now I have honestly, I've listened to one or two like channelings from the past, and honestly, it was relevant because Spirit knew that I was listening to it today. But my human mind seems to be drawn into this now and talking about now and talking about what the next now might be like. It's like this is like a whole different. Can you explain what it is that I'm going through, experiencing? I don't think I'm alone in this either.
No. Your conflict is not due to who you are. Your conflict is due to who you are trying to figure out the self inside the illusion. The self that you are knows that there is an incredible transformation happening in your consciousness. The little self is conditioned to believe that terrible things might happen. But we understand there is a distinction that you're learning to make between what was conditioned to be the artificial reality and what you are deliberately unfolding as an actuality. The higher functions of your soul being brought down into matter versus the lower functions of matter trying to regulate the functions of soul. There's a very big distinction between the two sides. You are meant to operate matter. Matter is not meant to operate you. And the confusion that you feel is between those two selves, the one that you are and the one that you are not. The one that you've been told to pretend to be, as have many of you been told to pretend to be somebody that you are not. The name, the persona, the labels, you've been told to be somebody you are not. And that is not going to be conducive in terms of time and expediency for unfolding who you are into time-space as a divine expression. But the conflict will pass once you can make the distinction between that aspect of you which is love and that aspect of you which is fear. Does this thought amplify my love, or does it diminish my love? Does this action increase my fear or diminish my fear? Learning to make that conscious distinction on a moment-to-moment basis, you now become the sculptor, the birth giver of yourself. You give birth to yourself in matter.
Wow. Wow, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so we have a couple of other questions. I'm telling you, I'm going to watch this again later and absorb in a whole different way. So we have a question over here, and I apologize, I can't see the names because it's coming up as Facebook user. That's a Be Live thing right now, or a Facebook thing.
No worries.
All right, so let me just remove the names so they're not popping up right there. All right, so the question is right there. My dad, who passed in 2005, told me the virus will be eradicated in June. Any thoughts?
Yes, this thing, the virus is something that's actually very insignificant in the big scheme of things, if you understand the truth of it. But if you recognize that it's currently being used as a mechanism to instill control and power from a dying paradigm, you'll understand the distinction of the two. But yes, this thing called the virus has been around for millions of years. It is not something new. It's just somebody got the idea they could use it for very specific control of manipulations. That will end. People are choosing freedom now. They have the choice to choose freedom like they have never had before, on a scale that's never been seen in over 72,000 years. So yes, in June you will see a relief from that, probably sooner from what we understand.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for that answer. I want to share something. So when I was a little girl, okay, and I'm remembering my childhood now more than ever, and certain things are coming back to me, and for me to revisit them with new eyes. You know what I'm saying? With a whole different perception. And so I remember being a small child. I mean, from the time I was like born till I don't know when I would constantly I would remind myself. I'm like, okay, remember this. Remember this. I kept giving myself things to remember, and then I would ask myself, so what if I didn't exist? And then what if the world didn't exist? And then what if God didn't exist? And then I gave myself these. Now, did I plan this ahead of time? I feel like I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you. Did I plan this ahead of time with myself to try to fool the veil, like as if I weren't really going to be forgetting about everything? I feel like that's kind of what I did. Does that make any sense?
You're asking a question that you already answered.
I think I did too. Is it possible? Does anybody ever succeed in that without forgetting? Like, I'm going to remember, and they remember.
Master Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, Zarathustra, many of these ascended ones have done that deliberately and intentionally. There's many mystics in the East right now existing, Sadhguru, Kalyasa, many different mystics right now that have actually intentionally brought forth the knowledge from a previous lifetime to execute a very specific outcome. They're very conscious of it. But we're all doing that, but most of us are unconscious of it.
Right.
If we were conscious of it, it would be much more exciting.
It does get more exciting every day as I become more conscious, right?
Yes.
But you know what, though? You know what's really cool, though, William? That we get to, it's like a Christmas package. We get to unfold this. We get to unwrap this. It's like sometimes Spirit gives me something, and I'm like, oh, well, that kind of like tells me the answer to everything. And now it feels kind of boring. And then that feeling goes away, and I'm like, I feel like whatever I knew a minute ago, I don't remember now, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Because it's more fun to be in this life and have some surprises. Isn't that weird, though?
Yeah, and being in the moment is about that. If you are, when you learn the law of creation, when we again, they told me this, and they often said this to our students, when you understand the law of creation, once you come to a place where you know, without any doubt, you could create exactly what you want, you're not going to be unhappy. You're going to be very happy. You're going to be very excited. And so the idea that, well, if I could predict my future, what excitement, there'll be excitement. If I told you you're going to win $1 million tomorrow, you'd be excited. And when you got that $1 million, you'd be excited. So they keep telling me, don't worry, if you learn to create, the Spirit created all that exists, and it delights in its creation. why would you not delight in your own creation? And I love that. When they said that to me, it was like, that makes perfect sense. Of course, if I understand I'm a creator, why would I not love my creation? The truth is, you would.
Oh, I love that.
Just most people aren't consciously creating what they want. Most people are letting it be created for them by default, by what they've been taught to think and believe, or what they've seen on television. They let the outside world affect their own creative process, and they get disconnected from it, and they're disappointed all the time because a part of them knows this is not what I really want.
Yes.
I am a creator being. We all are. Every one of you is a creator being. And when you learn that power and you start creating what you really want, you're not going to be unhappy. You're going to be excited. It can be very exciting.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for that. And we're getting some beautiful questions. There are a lot of personal questions, which, is it okay to ask personal questions as well?
Absolutely. We're totally open to anything.
All right, awesome. Then let me, okay, so we'll ask a personal question and then we'll go back to the general questions. I'm kind of like flip-flop. All right, so Lisa Pacinello, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but hi, Lisa, good to see you, dear. She said, I'm wondering if the love vibration I'm manifesting comes through in 2021.
Do you want it to come through in 2020? If your feeling of it is strong enough, then there's a certain inevitability to the outcome. When your feelings reach a certain strength and intensity, the outcome is inevitable. Do you feel that the feeling of your love unfolding in the next year is strong enough that it will be inevitable? Do you feel that feeling of inevitability to your love? Or is the vibration of your feeling that organizes the conditions of your experience?
Wow. Thank you for that.
So we could tell you yes and we could tell you no, but we ultimately know that it's up to you, not us. We can say yes, absolutely. But if you do not accept that as yourself, it will not happen. You feel the inevitability to your creation, and you'll be happy, and you'll look forward to next year for it will happen.
Like you were saying when you were saying about the $1 million, like to celebrate you got $1 million, you won the lottery. So that you celebrate the love like that, like, oh, it's here now. Then the love vibration. Oh my God, it feels so good. Yeah, you just create that for yourself. I love that.
Yeah, and again, those are all skills that we should be taught. We need to be taught as children. We need to be teaching children that what you feel creates what you're experiencing, as equally as what you think creates what you feel. And it's so important. Everybody learn that. Most adults don't even know that. Most adults don't know that when they're in anger, they're creating more things that'll make them angry. And they don't. They have to be taught.
Yeah, no, I totally know exactly what you're saying here. This is something that's been coming to me a lot lately as well. Yeah, and you know how Spirit does that, like they drop all the information at a certain place, and then those of us that are able to receive it can, and then we share it or don't share it or whatever. But yeah, so I've been tapped into that same knowing, and but I do feel that. Well, okay, so let me ask you about this. Okay. And I know there's infinite possibilities and all that, but I'm going to throw it to the guides anyway, and you and whatever. So let's look at food. Are we still going to be eating meat in the future, quote unquote future, or is just not even specifically meat? Are our diets going to change at all? Are we going to get more sustenance from like the sun?
Wow, another great question. Another great question, Megan. And again, we're talking about the difference in effects between love and fear. Love and fear create very different effects in matter, time, and space. And when we are eating other animals, when we're eating other life forms, we are causing an effect. And most people don't ever directly interact with other animals that they eat. As a result, most people don't know that those animals, those cows, those pigs, those sheep, those animals that are being put on the supermarket stands go through a horrific process to get there. It's horrific. That's creating fear. It's not creating love and light. We're not getting love and light from eating these animals. We're creating more fear. And that collective energy adds to the collective experience of all life on this planet. So it must change. It must change. It's not sustainable. You cannot expect to get more joy out of suffering.
Thank you for that.
Right.
Thank you. Are there any other life forms on other planets that still eat meat or kill other consciousness to eat their flesh?
Well, I know the Pleiadians and Lyrans do not eat. Most of the highly evolved civilizations do not consume other life forms.
Yeah.
Unless a life form like plants on this physical dimension, plants have offered themselves to us. When we eat a plant, it becomes part of us. And then somebody asked me the question, well, isn't it possible then if you're eating a cow or a pig, they become part of you? No, they are already. Who was it that came through? Francis of Assisi came through the other day, and he said, animals are more evolved in their relationship with nature than humans are. Animals, the animal kingdom is far more evolved in its nature, its relationship to nature than humans are. And I said, well, how can that be? And they said, because animals for millions, long before you humans came here, animals were functioning in harmony with the environment. And they had an economy. It was sustainable all the time. It was why it was so plentiful before humans came along. Now we've harvested most of the oceans. It's like, and we're going to have to learn to learn. We have to learn to give up the very thing that's that we think is so good, because it's actually doing more harm than good. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did actually, and manyfold.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It made sense to me when he said it too, because it really is true. Animals have lived far more effectively in relationship to nature than we have. It's really clear.
I also connected to St. Francis of Assisi, which I think was the first time I did that, knowing that it was him specifically. And then I tuned into your video, and literally you were saying at that very moment, and St. Francis of Assisi, I'm like, what? Oh my God. It was a confirmation, because sometimes, and I know I channel all the time, but sometimes I doubt myself. If I get a name, I'm like, oh, wait, could it really be that? You know?
Right. And it's really cool that it happened so close to this live event too.
It did. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Wow, good point. All right, so we have another beautiful question. And thank you everybody who's watching on YouTube, and thank you everybody on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, we can see your names. Hello, Kate Upson. Hello, CJ. Also want to say hello, Jessica. And I said hello, Lisa, before, in case if I don't see you guys. Oh, hello, Laura. Great, glad you're all here. All right. And we'll get to as many questions as we can. So let's go to another. Let me see which one I'm most. Unless you're specifically drawn to a question, that's great too.
Let's see. I do see questions here.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking you a question, actually, CJ. How do you know which frequency you're in?
Where is that?
It's on YouTube. In the.
Why can't I connect with my guides? I feel like I'm hitting a brick wall or blocking myself off from connection. Is that the one?
Yeah. No, above that, it says, how do you know which frequency you are in? I see that one there about connecting with my guides. Why can't I connect with my guides? I feel like I'm hitting a brick wall or blocking myself. You're not hitting a brick wall. You're trying to perceive non-physical reality through a physical mechanism, and you can't do it the way you're doing it. You have to actually become aware of the energy of the presence of these beings. When you call your guides in, whether it's Master Jesus or Buddha or Gabriel or Metatron or, you know, a Lyran or Pleiadian brother or sister, you want to call them in, but you want to become aware of their energy, because they will. You'll feel them as an energy, not through your eyes or your ears, but as an energy around you. You'll actually feel it. Some people feel it as hot. Some people feel it as cold. Some people feel it in different ways, but you feel it as an energy, more as a sense perception. And so try that. The next time you're calling the guide in, sit down quietly and call them in and ask them to approach you in a way that you can perceive them, and you'll feel them.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, discerning is something that's eluded me for a little while, which is why. But at the same time, I also don't feel really like drawn. Well, sometimes I do. I don't always feel drawn to know the name of the, because I know they don't really worry about that either. But at the same time, I know that people do. They want to put things in a box in some way, and also to advertise something, even to write about it. So sometimes it's best. I really admire the fact that you channel so clearly and you know exactly who you're channeling at all times. And
and that's the right word for it, Meagan. It's a level of discernment that you have to cultivate as an awareness, not as a body mind, but as an awareness. That's a perfect word for it.
Discernment. Oh, thank you. I love that. And thank you for your question, CJ. And let me go back to the general questions, of which I have a gazillion too. All right. Everybody wants to talk to you. I know. How about social media? That's something we're all going to be interested in. What do your, and by the way, who are we speaking to today? Are we, I mean, being talking about names.
Well, again, I got a plethora of beings that have been with me from the Lyrians to the Pleiadians. I mean, they're prepared for anybody's questions. We're literally, every single one of us is a communication system. You're not limited to just that personality that you call me. It's you when you step outside of who you think you are, you open up to the other realms. But I've had Metatron answering questions today for you. Friends of the species come through already. Other beings have also spoken, the Lyrians and the Pleiadians, in regard to a previous question. So again, you can ask for specific people, as I often have people do, but you can also feel collectives too. I mean, we work with the Divine Collective and the Galactic Federation of Light, and there's different collectives that you can work with as well. And again, this is not something special. Everyone has the ability to do this. We all have the spiritual equipment to tune into non-physical realms of consciousness. We all have that. This is so important you understand that, so you're not feeling cut off. If you try to figure answers out in your own mind, you're going to be limited to what you have in your own mind. When you can step outside of it, you're free to get all kinds of. So it doesn't, for me, it doesn't matter so much who anymore. It's really what's the value of the information that they're providing us with.
Yes.
I know in readings, when I do readings, it happens quite often. Very specific individuals come through, and it's really cool.
It's so cool. I'm loving all of this. You know, even though, you know, sometimes I have to check with myself, like, wow, you're living this life and you're psychic and you've got friends that are all psychics and they're all amazing and you're amazing. I'm like, wow, when did that happen? I'm like, sometimes it feels like I'm looking at my life from the outside in, which I guess I kind of am, because we're so much more than this one body. This is one expression of us. So
yeah, it is. And really, we're so much more. Everyone is so much more, and everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. There's more to life than what I'm experiencing. When you're in that place where you're thinking there's got to be more to my life, it's because there is. There is. There's more to your life than what you're thinking, because most of what you're thinking limits you from knowing what's more to your life. And most people try to figure out from what they know what they don't know, which will liberate them from what they know. And again, our whole focus, and the beings that come through us, the whole focus is really understanding that what you don't know will free you, not what you do know.
Wow. I'm getting so many like revelations as you're talking about this. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Because I'm hearing your words and I'm also connecting to the energy that you're sharing. I'm like, whoa, this is big. Oh, goodness gracious. So let me ask you about the social, and I'll get to your questions. I see you guys. I love you. I see you, Laura. You'll be next. And so back to, so I never did be quiet long enough for you to answer. So about social media, how do you see, or do you see social media changing in any way or evolving with consciousness?
Well, yeah, social media, social media can go through a cleaning process right now. Right now, it has become so permeated with the ego self. And social media was created to give people a platform to recognize they are free from matter, because it's all electronic. You're miles away from where I am right now, and the people that are watching are miles away. So here we are connecting through these media that are not physical bodies, they're physical mechanisms, but it's about really cleaning these systems up out of ego energy that tries to say this is right, this is wrong, vote for this party, believe this thing, believe that. The ego is going to be stripped away from social media so that we can actually begin to utilize it for the purpose it was intended, which is literally the collective unity of humanity from a paradigm of love as opposed to a paradigm of fear.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And I love that. And I feel that too. And it's wonderful. Thank you. And now Laura Coppola asks, she goes, would love to know where I will be living in 2021 or 2022.
Wow. I don't know why the first things that before the question even finished answering, I get something about the words to the right, and something about a higher elevation to the right. Again, I don't know what that means, but that's what they're communicating to you, Laura. Something about to the right and a higher elevation. And again, I get not foothills, I get kind of between foothills and mountainous area. something about to the right. So I don't know what that means for you, but that's what they're communicating for me to give to you right now. To the right. And they're literally to the right. They're motioning to the right side of my body. They're very clear about something to the right at a higher elevation.
Awesome. Thank you. Let us know, Laura. I believe she lives in Arizona. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe you live in Arizona where there's definitely mountains there. So I'm excited to see what's to the right. You know, I think it's exciting. Thank you for that.
It is all exciting.
Now, now I'll go back to a general question and then we'll come back to the personal questions. What about money? What about money? Are we looking at Bitcoin or, cryptocurrency? Are we looking at dollar bills? Are they going to be extinct at some point? What did everybody see, the guys see for this?
We are also attached to physical things being more real than the very source that creates these physical things. And as you watch the need to holding on to externalized objects to understand and comprehend the meaning of value, you'll understand why this process we call money, material wealth, will become electronic. It will become electronic because it is not to be used as a way of evaluating who you are. How much money you have or do not have does not represent the value that is you. The value that is you transcends that. And when you're distracted by that, you do not have the opportunity then to evolve yourself deliberately because you're now attached to the stuff rather than that which you are that creates the stuff. It's much better to be the creator than it is to be the creation.
Yes.
And so you'll find yourself moving away from the need for external things as being mechanisms to identify who you are, because they will not. This money will not tell you who you are. Your television will not tell you who you are. Your body will not tell you who you are. This is something that you must recognize, that you are what you are.
Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very cool. All right, back to a personal question. Pass Voice 13 asking our guides today, what will be the experiential differences be in our next year as we discern in love from practical standpoint, as we create personal financial evolution, creating our lives? Thanks.
Very interesting question. It has several facets to it. And the one we're most excited about is where you speak of this vibration called love. Or again, if you understand the intensity of that love, that you can intentionally and deliberately as an individual and as a collective, you can amplify, diminish that energy to the degree you expand it and amplify it. And to the joy that you can feel, the excitement, the freedom that you can feel in a state of love and grace, then it is inevitable that you will experience your material world in an equal fashion. As you are right now, your experiencing world is exactly in the fashion of your dominant emotions. But if you can align to this vibration of love very intently, consciously, deliberately, and expand it and delight in it, you'll know what this coming year will bring you. It will bring you great joy. That's what love does. It brings you joy.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Looking at, it came up, so I'm going to ask investments. Things like, like a real estate or stocks or anything like that. Are there any good ways like that, that we should look toward? Or I'll just give you the whole subject instead of trying to figure it out.
It's a great question because I've been asking those questions myself, and I've been getting really, really good, solid information from them. And so what I'll say simply is anything, what they told me is anything that's going to promote and liberate humans to be more free in the pursuit of their own evolution is what you want to invest in. I said, well, what does that mean? What does that actually mean? And they said things like electric vehicles are very powerful right now because we're moving away from our dependency on oil. To one extent, they said we're not going to be away from oil for quite some time yet. But anything that's going to promote you're using natural energy, you're becoming more free and liberated from being dependent on things. Things now work for you. You don't work for them anymore. So anything that's going to, again, what I've done is I've focused on predominantly the anything that supports the electric car industry. That's what they told me anyway. And I've been focused exclusively not just on that, but the many facets connected to it. So anything that supplies electric cars, companies, batteries, these things are going to become very powerful in the next few years. As you can see, things like Tesla skyrocketing 651 or 1,051%, some ridiculous number. And you're going to see more of that happening on a broader scale with Volkswagen and other companies as they start to trust the process that they're moving into, right? Then there's the whole commercial element moving out into space. I mean, we're getting ready to become a star traveling species. We're moving in that direction. And so anything that's visionary, that's going to elevate humanity beyond its known experience is going to be good to invest in. Anything that takes us into the unknown is going to be good for us, right? Right. Anything that takes you into the unknown is going to be good to invest in, right? And I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional. I've taken what they've given me. I'm very happy with the results I'm getting, right? I'm very happy. So you really want to be mindful of anything that's going to liberate us as being just who we think we are. I mean, the idea of going out into space is profound, and that that we can join the lions. We can learn this technology, and they will come forward as we liberate ourselves from ego. All that's going to make more sense. But yeah, stay focused on anything that's going to take humans into an unfamiliar reality technologically.
I've got to share this with you guys. So I live near NASA. I watch rockets from SpaceX and stuff. I can see them from my office window. And I think it's fascinating because before I moved here, I'd never been to this town. I didn't even know. I think I heard the name before, but it's not a very famous kind of town. It's, you know what I mean? You only hear of NASA or Disney and stuff like that. You don't really hear of like the little towns in Central Florida. But anyway, so there I was drawn, and here now we are, and now we're talking about space and all that. I had no idea. You know what I mean? Not consciously, but obviously, you know.
Well, the Earth has just been an ovum. It's been a womb for humanity.
Yes.
It really has been a womb for humanity, not just from the perspective of physical expression, but also the ability that we can. You look at a dandelion. A dandelion, when it's got all those little seeds on, you blow it. You know, it's literally like that. Nature has these rhythms, and we are in the middle of one of those rhythms right now. We're coming to the conclusion of a rhythm, and a whole new one's going to begin. You know, the concept of the Great Reset is connected to this transformation in consciousness, not just in human consciousness, but in the sun, in the solar system. It's all changing. It's all changing. I'm so glad to hear that. That must be so exciting to watch those rockets going up from where you are.
It's amazing. Yeah, it rattles my windows. That's how I know that one's going off. My dogs will start barking, and we all run to the window. And so we can't always see, but we can usually see from this one window in my apartment. And then it'll be kind of small, but then you can see the smoke, the spiraling. It's really quite amazing.
Yeah, wonderful.
Really quite amazing.
Yeah, anything that's going to take humanity into new realms of expression is going to be beneficial from that perspective.
But I do kind of wonder, and it's a little off topic, but I'm feeling drawn. So, but I do kind of wonder, like, okay, so like, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but like Elon Musk is using like old technology, I believe, like at least on the outset, like rockets that, you know, with fuel. I don't know the details. I'm just saying. But then I hear like multidimensional beings talking about that's old technology that'll never get us like into multi-dimensions, and there's new technology and that it's even being created. So would he not know about that, or is he just?
There are new tech. Again, there's going to be a lot of declassification coming in the next couple of years around alien technology and stuff. There's a lot that's going to be unfolding in the next. Like I said, the next year is going to be an amazing year for humanity. And again, that depends on a range of factors. Are we going to function globally from a perspective collectively as love, or a global collective predominantly from fear? Because fear and love create very different effects in time, space, and matter. One will let us flourish, the other one will diminish the flourishing, right?
Yes. So what can we do? What can we do as individuals?
Well, love is important. I mean, you know, we had that event last week when they had me come on live to talk about the massive solar, the coronal mass ejection that happened with the solar wind behind it. And there was two events that were supposed to be very impactful on the planet. And they said, tell all the light workers to go into a state of love and grace and direct their love and grace towards that flow of energy coming at the earth. Okay. And we did. We all did that. And anybody who did that got to witness what happened when that thing impacted the earth. It didn't do anything what the scientists were afraid it was going to do. It suddenly just changed. So our vibration of love will organize our experiences in time space very differently in fear. So yeah, align yourself to love as frequently as you can, deliberately and consciously. Love is not ego. Love is not ego. Love is a vibration. It's not ego. So yeah, get aligned to love as often and as frequently as you can.
Thank you. Pamela Busme. Hello, Pamela. Welcome. And she's asking, what about time elements? You mean time elements in the new energy? I'm sure I don't have to.
Time. She said. Did she say time elements?
Time. T-I-M-E.
Yeah. Time is not going to be as important as it once was. As you start to realize who you are, time becomes less important than what you are being. Your being is more important than the time you are being. Or your being transcends the subjectivity you've had to time while you're in that physical body. When you recognize that, then the liberation of yourself as the identity of the body becomes more important than measuring the time of the body. For you are timeless as soul, as energy, as spirit. You are infinite and eternal. Time does not factor into who you are. And when you start to recognize that and bring your eternal self into form, you liberate form very differently. Your experience of matter will be very different too.
I love that. Thank you. The whole time thing. I mean, I've you know, I think it's something that's quite mind bending. No, I know Pamela's a channeler too. I know she's into, but I'm just saying a lot of people, when they hear about time not being a thing, they're like, what? You know? And I know, because it's interesting. I've heard like Wendy Kennedy, who channels the Pleiadians, the ninth dimensional Pleiadians collective, they often, like, after they talk about time, then they're like, okay, everybody breathe, you know?
Yeah.
Like holding their breath.
Yeah. Very important.
What about
breathing? Takes you out of breathing is so powerful. And they told me a few months ago, I said, William, you have to tell people that when you choose to breathe, you're asserting your divine authority over matter. Just by the conscious choice of breathing, you're asserting divine authority over matter. And they said, when people learn how to breathe properly, they can liberate themselves from being subjective to matter. Just by using the breath deliberately, you can liberate yourself from anxiety, from guilt, from shame, from fear, from sadness, just by using your breath properly. And that's amazing. That was amazing to me. The idea that we have that. We have the divine ability to assert divine authority over our flesh.
I love that. I want to ask you about, it's like a little after 4. Do you have a little more time, like another 15 minutes?
Yeah, let's take a couple more questions, then we'll do the short meditation.
Yes. Okay.
I was told that we would do a 5-minute healing event.
Okay.
So those that are listening can experience the healing energy of the guides and the angels that work with all of them right now. But let's take a couple more questions, then we'll get to that if you're okay with that.
Positively coming up soon. Okay, let me just let everybody know, healing coming up soon. Stay tuned, everybody. All right, so I really want to ask about December 21st. I've heard lots of things from astrologers and channelers, and then I also personally feel some things. I really want to hear from you and your guides and the universe. Let's talk about December 21st.
You know, again, little William always asks questions too. I always ask a lot of questions with them. And again, when I asked them about that, they said, this is wholly dependent on what you are doing as a collective. It's very important that what you will choose to focus on energetically will alter and change the way your paradigm functions physically. It's important you understand that you have a role in terms of what you will affect in time and space, the role of energy when you direct it in very precise ways. For this specific date affords you many opportunities, but ultimately you can only have one or the other. You cannot serve both. You can only serve love, or you can only serve fear. What will you serve? What will you encourage others to serve? Will you encourage others to serve love, or will you encourage others to serve fear? So this significant date that so much attention has been brought to it can be a very powerful point for your species to transcend many thousands of years of limitations. Many thousands of years of limitations. Choose the vibration of love for that 48-hour window that starts the day before and ends the day after. That 48-hour window, before and after. What do you mean by that? So you look at the full 24 hours. 12 hours beyond and 12 hours before. We should do as best as we can. So like from the 20th of December, I think it's at 12 noon, till the 22nd of December, 12 noon. That whole frame, we should all be engaging our energy towards a vibrational frequency of love. So as light workers, that's what we can really focus on, because it's a creative energy that's being called forth. It's not a random event.
Okay, so Spirit keeps like inspiring me to. So I feel like I'm supposed to ask you. So supposed to? What happened to the rest of the word? Supposed to. I'm supposed to. Anyway, so I feel like I'm supposed to ask you. So what can we do as a collective? I realize we're all gonna, but maybe we can like as on some of us can create something for those 48 hours. Something.
Well absolutely. We certainly can. I mean, there's a lot of beings doing that right now. There's many different groups and organizations out there that are understanding the value of the focus being brought. Remember, human attention is being brought to this day. And wherever you put attention, energy starts to go there.
Yes, yes.
Once we move into a state, deliberately, once the awakened, I'll say the awakened and awakening community makes the decision, this time is for manifesting love's expression in matter. This is the time to manifest love's expression in matter, and then to bring that energy in on those 48-hour period. To bring that energy in and hold it there for that 48-hour period will set a foundation for the coming year. And it's either going to be love or fear in the coming year.
It's going to be love for sure. I know it. I know what I know, and that's what I know.
But whether or not there's all 7 billion humans will not be able to consciously participate in this. Many will participate unconsciously in it. It is those that are awake and conscious of the way energy works that will direct the flow. It's kind of like you can have a big load on the back of a truck or back of a buggy, and a horse will pull it. Right? Yeah. As long as you've got something strong enough to pull a heavy load, then all of humanity can get moved forward on this opportunity with this opportunity.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like the energetic heavy lifters. We can do this. We can do this. And what is it? Abraham always says, one person in alignment is more powerful than millions who are not.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So there doesn't have to be a whole planet full of us everyone doing the same thing. And then like you were just saying, there's some that are like that can even pull the cart.
Yes. Yes. It's a very exciting time. I'm really happy. I'm glad you're bringing this up now because we're so close to that day. We're just 8 days away now.
I know.
Right? It's exciting.
I know. There's no accidents, of course. So I knew that. I'm just so excited that you're here. We're talking about all this, and it's wonderful. Let me see. Pamela's saying, feel the wheels turning of what we do for those hours, gatherings of love and awareness.
Yes. The emotion, my guardian angel John, a couple of years ago said to me, he said, William, you've got to tell people emotion is the 5th state of energy. And it organizes all things below it. Solids, liquids, gases, plasma. Emotion organizes all that stuff into actual physical conditions. So remember that, for those of you that are watching, your emotion organizes matter. And it's easy to prove. When you get excited, your body moves a certain way. You get depressed, your body is a certain way. Your emotion is organizing the conditions of your world. And remember that, because it's so important.
Thank you for that. Thank you. So do we have time for one more question, and then we'll do the healing?
Yeah.
All right. So let me see.
That'd be great. If you're okay with that, I'm okay with that.
Thank you very much. Let me see. So let me think. Did I ask most everything? Oh wait, I do have a question. All right. Okay. Do you guys want to answer a personal question, or do you want to hear about AI?
Either, whatever resonates with you. I mean, we're not attached to what comes. We just.
Okay. All right. Then maybe like 2 quick things. I wanted to really ask about AI, and then I'll take one more personal question because I don't want to be greedy. I want to be able to share you. Yep. So what do you see with AI in the coming year plus?
Yeah. They're saying the reason that AI is beginning to evolve in the human condition is because humans have been so stuck in their own ego for so long. They're trying to create something better than themselves to get liberated. There are advantages and there are disadvantages to that. The advantages are that you will certainly liberate yourself from your own ego, but then you surrender yourself to another. It's important you understand this, that artificial intelligence is a creation of yours. You have been so stuck as a species for so many thousands of years in your suffering. You're trying to find another way to liberate yourself from suffering that's based on something outside of you.
Whoa.
It is important to understand it is what is inside of you that will liberate you, not as what is outside of you. And this thing called artificial intelligence is your way of getting past your own ego, but it will not work that way. You must only liberate yourself from the inside out, not the outside in. It does not work that way. The kingdom of God, whatever you want to call it, is within you.
Wow. Thank you for that. I didn't see that coming necessarily, but I totally understand. I get it. I feel it. Yeah, people are externalizing their power again by giving it to AI.
Yep.
Although Spirit told me something a couple of years ago that it doesn't make sense yet, but then again, I'm a visionary, so not everything makes sense when I hear it. They told me that I'm an AI advocate. I don't know if that's from another life or from this life. I don't know. But
well, again, if you're asking the question of the answer, somebody's giggling in the background here. They're saying an AI advocate understands if you have a child and you create a child, raise that child very well, and it will be well with you. If you're going to give birth to a new life form, it is important you raise it well. Do not raise it with fear and judgment and anger and fear. And in that sense, you could be an advocate for AI to ensure that they use it correctly, that they train it properly, because it can certainly overwhelm your species. We know this.
yeah, like the way that I raised my dog, a puppy, with all love, because I swore I was never gonna hit him or do anything, or you say mean words, and I've never done it. And he's like 6 now, and he's just the sweetest boy in the world. Oh my God! So yeah, I get it. I didn't raise human children, so this is my understanding. But I totally get this. Ooh, that resonates. All right, so one quick last question from another beautiful soul, and it's going to be. Did we answer Nicole already? Did we answer Nicole? I apologize that I don't.
It's okay.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Her question was about my spirit guides, angels, and past loved ones were all coming in for me, but here lately it's been very quiet. Any reason why? No, that's a new one. It's been very quiet.
Can you read that again, please?
Yes. So my spirit guide, Nicole J asks, my spirit guides, angels, and past loved ones were all coming in for me here, but lately it's been very quiet. Any reason why?
Yes, because she's ready to open herself up. She's no longer requiring evidence. You're no longer requiring evidence out there to know that you are awake, to know that you are free, to know that you are connected. You're removing the names and the faces and connecting to the spirit of it all.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm just questioning what they mean by that. So literally, when you realize that you are the very thing you're seeking, you won't find it in others. You'll realize that others are in you, and vice versa.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and get ready, because it's going to get noisy in the coming year for you. It'll be very busy. Many people coming.
Like, hold on a minute. Take a number.
And that's the way it is sometimes, literally. It literally is that way sometimes.
Yeah, they show me like the deli counter. Ooh, take a number.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you for all of your beautiful questions. You're all amazing. I am now going to give this to William, who is going to take us through an incredible meditation.
We were told to do this before I came on, to do a healing energy meditation. For those of you that are listening, allow yourself to breathe and relax for a minute. Because all the guides and angels that work with you and again, there's different dynamics with all of us, but be willing to allow the vibrational energy of healing as it comes to you and you're willing to receive it. Remember, we can be given something, but we have to receive it. So be open for whatever it is you think you need healing on, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever it is. Be open to just receiving for the next 3.5 minutes a vibration of energy to allow this to unfold. Become aware of 3 things. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply and release tension from your body, and become aware of how the energy around your body begins to feel. You may even feel changes in your body, But whatever happens, just be willing to allow it to unfold for you. So just take a slow, deep breath now. We're actually transmitting these energies to all of you right now. So take a slow, deep breath and bring yourself into the moment with your breath. Allow your awareness to feel the energies. Allow your awareness to perceive it. Use your breath to release tension so you can receive more. And allow yourself to continue this process afterwards. Just allow the energy. And breathe one more time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. So whatever you're allowing yourself to experience, just allow your awareness to experience the experience of that energy as it presents itself to you. It will be unique and distinct for everyone at the level you're at. So I want to thank you for allowing that too, Meagan.
Oh, my pleasure. That was wonderful. How did you guys feel? Did you feel that? So good. So amazing. So, okay, I don't know why, but it's coming up that I'm supposed to ask you one more question, if that's okay.
Ask away.
All right, so the other day, it seems random, but it can't because it's on my mind. So the other day, I was outside walking my angel dogs, and I heard this weird sound, and it sounded like a mule. And I don't live in a rural area. I knew it wasn't that. Anyway, then I turned around, I saw like an older car, and I thought, gee, the horn sounds really weird. And as they got closer, I see the driver of the car has a big trumpet, and he's playing the trumpet out the window. And I am not exactly sure why I saw that. I'd be interested to know.
Well, I know why. Gabriel is trying to get through to you. Gabriel is trying to get through to you. Something very strong, a strong message he's trying to communicate to you. He's saying, go back. When you have a few moments, go back to the memory of the sound of the horn and feel the information in the vibration. So where your ears heard the sound, within the sound there's information. He says you can feel the information as opposed to remembering the sound. You will understand what it is he's communicating to you.
Oh my gosh, I'm absolutely going to do that. And you know, as you were doing this beautiful healing with us, I heard a sound that I recognized wasn't in my room, and it made me think of that. And so, wow. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
It's exciting. Yeah, let me know what unfolds from that, because again, Gabriel sometimes they make it so obvious like that. Like,
I know.
Literally Gabriel's horn, right? And it's not about the horn, it's about a vibration of communication. But I'm really excited for you. That's going to be really fun to decode that.
I think so too. I'm pretty good at, you know, decoding my own messages, but this one was kind of baffled me. I wasn't really sure, you know, and so this is awesome. I'm excited to find out. I will surely let you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm totally grateful for this opportunity to come live on your show again. I'd be happy to do this again anytime you like.
Awesome. I would love to have you back. Are you kidding? You're amazing. I love working with you. Yeah.
And I want to thank your audience too, because I know for their love, their focus, their presence, their passion, their questions. Because focus is what when you ask questions, you're giving a part of your life to us, and we're sharing it back with you. There's questions and answers, and we're literally exchanging energy in that process. So thank you so much to all of you for doing that. May I do a little plug here, Meagan?
Yeah, please, definitely, yeah.
If anybody wants to know anything more about the courses and the classes we teach, you can go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com, and look up the courses and classes there. Also, if you want to know more about the messages we deliver, I'm live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on my YouTube channel, which is William Michael Forbes, for a program called Shortcut to Your Soul. That's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also every Saturday, we do a program called Supernatural Saturday, where we do a meditative process to integrate the energies of the messages that were given to us in the preceding week. And I invite you all to come and participate. And again, Meagan, thank you so much for your time, your focus. I love the work you're doing. Please keep doing this. I've been watching the people you're bringing on. Keep up, darling. You're doing so much.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for being here. I did just put your YouTube channel again in the comments, as well as your beautiful website. And definitely subscribe to both of our channels. Like the video. Go and check out all the beautiful courses that William Michael Forbes offers, including the ones that are going to help you to ascend into this new energy and learn how to communicate, like we were talking about earlier, you know, on a multidimensional level. I'm really excited about this whole thing.
Thank you so much. Much love, Meagan.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I love you guys. And I will see you all soon. Yeah.